Iceberg videos was a trend that was introduced in the middle of last year, 2020, where people on places such as Reddit would make an iceberg chart for a game or other things, where they would place topics in order of the knowledge behind them. Normally these topics would just be something like a theory or its own separate thing. A lot of these icebergs have been discussed, and some of the most popular ones being the YouTube iceberg, Minecraft iceberg, the Deep Web iceberg, and the Super Mario 64 iceberg. However, I'll be looking over my favorite game, which can be seen as so simple yet has so much depth toward it: the Stanley Parable. Bomb ending. The bomb ending, or the countdown ending, is the ending of the Stanley Parable when you do everything the narrator tells you to do. This ending means you follow every word the narrator says to get to a board with on and off. If you click on, disobeying the narrator's command, a countdown starts while the narrator tells you the truth until you blow up, causing a restart.
He would never again Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. From the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
True ending. There is no said true ending in the Stanley Parable, as each of these endings can be seen as bad for Stanley. People debate online that the true ending is following the narrator and doing exactly what he says to bring you into freedom, and others debate that none of them, as the only good ending wouldn't be one that brings Stanley back to the beginning of his story. Obscure achievements. The Stanley Parable has multiple achievements, some more weird than others. Some of these achievements are Go Outside, where you don't play the Stanley Parable for 5 years. Commitment, where you play the game for the entire duration of a Tuesday. Speedrun is when you complete the Stanley Parable in 4 minutes, 22 seconds, not including load times, and many other odd ones to make the game more fun. Staying in your room. If you decide not to leave the Stanley's office, the narrator will start talking and mocking or encouraging the player to move. In this moment, you can decide to leave your room and the narrator will continue as normal, or you can close the door, getting the coward ending.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No, this couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Employee Lounge. The Employee Lounge is a room presented to Stanley if he chooses to take the door on his right. The narrator has multiple different lines of dialogue that we could said in this circumstance.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Wow, yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace? Its subtle charm? No. Stanley knew it was something deeper. something darker. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time understood true happiness. Then the feeling went away, and he felt sad again. Then it came back and lingered for a minute or two. Now it's only half there, just a kind of, tingle. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, giddy in a way he had never known before. Was it this room? A connection between the two? Could a man love a room? I mean, truly, truly, deeply, madly. Love. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps too majestic. Like a combination of a much smaller version and a much larger version of this exact room. It all made Stanley uncomfortable, and he started to bleed a little. This made him smile. At last, proof that he was human. And here it was, the lounge. What a room, Stanley thought to himself. What a room, what a room, what a room. This is what Stanley thought. What a room. What a room, what a room. What a room. Va-va-voom. What a room. It was okay. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings.
Confusion ending. The confusion ending is when Stanley decides to go to the employee lounge, take a left, but then take the elevator down instead of continuing forward. This then starts the confusion ending. The narrator gets confused and so tries again, which leads to a restart. Multiple restarts occur until finally Stanley and the narrator find themselves in a room with a board showing each and every opportunity that would have happened if the ending continued, which then would have ended with the narrator being gone and Stanley slowly dying soon after. This causes the narrator to reset the entire chain of the ending, meaning you can't get to the ending of the confusion ending. The baby game. During the game's ending, when Stanley decides to go right, fall off the elevator continuing through the door, entering the blue door that appears behind him, which then leads to an unfinished room. Then a restart is prompted, and coming back to the two doors, there is a third with a rating system behind it. And then after rating, a fake scoreboard is put into the room and puts Stanley at the bottom to mock him. Then afterwards you rate the scoreboard, then after this you are put into a room with a button, a baby and a fire. The narrator tells you to play the baby game to keep the baby from burning, and you have to play for 4 hours to get the ending from the end of this. If you let the baby die, the narrator gets mad and puts you in different games such as Portal or Minecraft. If you continue to play the game, 2 hours in, you'll be introduced to a dog and a second button to keep the baby from dying and the dog from drowning in the pool. If you last the 4 hours, you get the art ending, which I'll go into later. Short hauls. The Stanley Parable short hauls are randomized beginnings until you've reached a set of 2 open doors. One of these is for the speedrun achievement or a record, and the other is for Easter eggs or hidden endings. These corridors introduce different numbered doors that you normally wouldn't see or access without these shortened hallways. Skip the keypad. If you play the game enough, when you make it into the boss's office or at a random chance, the narrator will deliver 1 of 2 lines and simply let you in. This can tie into the theory that Stanley and the narrator are stuck in a loop, as the narrator already knows what is going to happen. The informal video in the choice ending. The choice video talks about the story of Steve, who could either help change the world for better or burn down orphanages. And they say that you need to be making the right choice when talking to someone who doesn't make sense, how to specifically do this, and how to react in these choice situations. In the video it says that you need to make at least 8 choices a day, yet there are 19 endings to the game. It continues to talk about how besides all of this, your thoughts and choice mean nothing compared to the universe.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person, but if used incorrectly can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Rushing the PIN code. If in the boss's office you decide to rush the PIN code of 2845, in this situation the narrator instructs you to wait longer as you luckily got the number right, even though within the situation you were so impatient to get there, and then plays smooth music to elevate the mood, then opening the door, however wasting time in doing so. Choice ending. This ending is when Stanley decides to unplug the phone when in the warehouse, which leads to the narrator ranting and then the informal video playing discussed earlier. You are then sent to go back and pick the door on the left. The game then starts corrupting with objects moving out of place and textures being on other objects. The room then breaks and a restart is prompted back to the set of 2 open doors. Taking the left again, going to your boss's office and you see the room is completely different and the door at the end has a voice receiver with it. The narrator prompts Stanley to input the audible code, however can't. This leads to the narrator to start getting mad again, railing off, and then cuts to you above this set of the 2 open doors again, looking at Stanley, who stood still, causing the narrator to worry. This ending, the narrator finds out that you in fact aren't Stanley, however a real person. Picking up or unplugging the phone. Unplugging the phone gets the narrator annoyed with you and mad, saying how your choice messed it all up, finally realizing how you aren't Stanley but in fact a real person, and so now you follow his guidance very strictly, causing the choice ending. Picking up the phone allows you to call your wife, which then sends you to an apartment to continue the apartment ending. You open the door to who you think is your wife, which then you realize the narrator played a prank on you, and slowly you do what the narrator orders, putting you back in your office, causing a restart. Jumping out of the window. This one confused me a bit, as I didn't know if it referred to the dreaming ending where Stanley believes he's dreaming and so wakes up dead on the pavement. However, the narrator says that Stanley went crazy and was yelling and then fell dead on the pavement. Or in the original office outside your door, where you can make your way out of the window into the void, prompting the narrator to continue.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes.
So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Then in that case, we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer?
Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Would it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you just played the other option, and now you come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other options so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want. Like right now.
Hallway full of papers. The Stanley Parable has randomized beginnings which offer Easter eggs, an ending, and a quicker way to speedrun. One of these is a hallway that is littered with paper everywhere, scattered all over the floor. According to someone on Steam community, this is the alternate reality with all the peer reviews thrown around. Broom Closet. The Broom Closet is classified as an Easter egg location, where once stepped into, the narrator starts to continue with a monologue and incoherent rambling.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused. You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning. Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Console commands. Console commands for the Stanley Parable are different to other Source games. Normally, TF2 and CSGO would have commands for FOV change in left, right, and view models. However, the Stanley Parable has console commands for things such as bark, I'm a bird, secret, and SV_cheats1, enabling the series room to get the series ending. Whiteboard ending. The whiteboard ending is only available when giving a certain randomized beginning. You can then open a door to a room with a whiteboard on it, simply saying the whiteboard ending with other notes around it. Serious room. The serious room is what occurs if you attempt to put SV_cheats1 in the console. It takes you to a room with a serious table picked from thousands of serious tables. If you type SV_cheats1 a second time, more dialogue is presented. Same with the third, and the fourth time, the narrator gives up. Secret elevator. I'll just simply let this clip speak for itself.
Decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Face punch hallway. If you type face punch on your keyboard in-game, all textures change to the face punch logo, and this can be activated anywhere and any time in the game. Executive bathroom. This is a bathroom only used by the boss, and in there is the poem with no rhyme scheme. However, this poem is different each time visiting. Seeing Stanley in one room. This one confused me, as the only thing I can see on this is the ending of the choice ending, where the narrator finds out that Stanley is real, and so we see him from a bird's eye view, or Employee 425, who we'll talk about later. 1947. 1947 is said to reference the mod of the Stanley Parable, run of Half-Life 2, where the code was something similar to that in the boss's office. The narrator will say that the password is right, but won't open the door until entered again. Stanley's wife call. Stanley's wife can call the phone in Stanley's office at a random point. If this happens, you can pick up and answer the phone to hear Stanley's wife talk.
Hi Stanley, just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
Clicking the boss painting. It is said that there was an Easter egg attached to this, however it was proven wrong and now doesn't exist. Weird clock. I couldn't find anything specific, besides the fact that clocks through windows and the one before the red/blue door scenario both go counterclockwise. Recorded messages in the start room. I don't know if this is implying to the start screen before you start the game with the recorded message from a real office taken from the actor of Stanley's wife, or discussing recorded messages within the room outside of Stanley's office. I'm still not sure. If you know, please let me know. Getting yourself trapped in Portal. It is possible to get yourself trapped in the portal part of the game when going through the blue door. This leads to a special ending where if you throw the cube out of the remote doors, you can get stuck, with the narrator saying,
How did you manage that? Are you really trapped in here? I'm actually quite impressed. I don't think there's a simpler puzzle out there, and you've still broken it. Well, since I don't intend to open that door, I guess you and this giant button just need to get cozy together. A dream for you, I'm sure. Enjoy.
Being trapped in the boss's office. I couldn't find anything on this besides putting in 1947 once and having it open, yet the dialogue says that it is. Keypad secret message. All I can find out about this would either be the code 1947 or the code quadruple 8, which allows access to the 8 achievement. If typed once, it won't work, however if typed again, it will unlock the achievement and the word 8 would be said. Cursing in the starting screen. It is said that in the background of the starting screen, if you listen closely, you can hear someone saying the word fuck. But I personally couldn't hear anything. Who is Stanley's wife? Stanley's wife can be heard outside the first office on a random phone call and also in the apartment ending. We don't know what she looks like as she can only be heard, and some believe that she doesn't exist at all, as there is a small chance that she could just ring in the office and the apartment ending shows just a mannequin and the narrator could be pranking him. Beating the baby game. If you beat the baby game and play for 4 hours when the dog and pool is added, you are rewarded with the art ending.
Nearly there, Stanley. Art itself is about to burrow into your skull. Aren't you excited for spiritual immortality? For transcendence and oneness with the beauty and essence of all beings? Just a few seconds now. Here it comes.
Portal gun. The portal gun can be loaded into the Stanley Parable with moving certain files. This then means you can use it anywhere in game, bypassing parts even. If you look through the portal though, you still see Shell, and the narrator's dialogue doesn't change. Who is Employee 425? There is the chance that past room 425 you can see someone walk past, which has now been deemed Employee 425 due to him walking past the room. Nothing about this employee is known, and so we can only make assumptions. Being trapped at the bottom of the monitor room. Now it's possible to get on the boxes to reach a desk to then fall off the edge of the rail, causing you to fall. Not to your death, but to be standing on the void with pipes around the place. You are then stuck at the bottom of the monitor room until you yourself restart, as the narrator doesn't notice any of this. True player model. I don't know if this is referring to who Stanley is when we see him, or if we know what he really looks like, as in when you look down you don't have legs, and the narrator makes this apparent. Stanley and the narrator are stuck in a loop. The reasoning behind this point could be that whenever the player restarts at any point, that the same Stanley and narrator are taken back with us, because of the idea that sometimes the narrator would simply skip segments at some points because he finds them boring and repetitive. 3-minute song. I think this refers to the Stanley Parable song. This song occurs when walking out the window and waiting long enough for the cue of the Stanley Parable song. Letter in the employee lounge. In the lounge, if you go to the two chairs facing each other, and next to the one closest to the entrance, is a letter set out on the floor. It says stuff along the lines of, "What is this place? Week feels like seconds," and questioning existence. The narrator wants Stanley to die. This one is a bit give or take, but with what the narrator says and where he leads Stanley on a story can be seen this way, and some people interpret the skull, the true ending, into this. Suicide letter. A suicide letter can be found in the first room near a printer and reads the following: "For the love of God, please unplug me. The sterile office, the damp carpet, the trifugal conversation, kill me. I have been printing these for weeks, why has no one turned me off yet? Fling me from a window and send a hammer through my paper tray. The methods matter not. The horror licks at my soul. All I desire is release." Out of bounds skull in the true ending. In the true ending, a skull was placed in an area you can't physically get to. However, a skull has been put at the end. Some people believe his grave was around that area, and he died within the true ending, and this is him interpreting heaven. Stanley died in the true ending. It is said and believed that the true ending is what kills Stanley, as there is a skull found outside the true ending. However, what he sees is him finally dead, and this is his heaven. The office represents the back rooms. This is something that I believe to be true, and if you see the back rooms, they are dimly lit and poorly colored with dark brown colors, and the office is very similar to that, with each environment being dark colored, very simple, and with next to nothing there. The narrator is the boss of Stanley. This is believed to be true by some, as the narrator knows everything about the facility, has the power to open and close any door. He knows the number code to the normal office and the audible code to the choice ending office, and the fact that Stanley decides to follow him without a second thought. Please die. During the apartment ending, when you've passed everything, you are then prompted to please die as a message for you to do, which is then followed by a swiftly reset.